Well, what up, everybody? How you going? It's Gagsy, and what a bizarre piece of news this is. And let's get right into it. So, it was announced on Instagram. I'm not sure if this is where it started, but there was a rumor, I'm guessing at this stage, that GodLike, one of the top Indian teams, so they came fourth place in the BGIS. Remember that one, fourth place in the Battlegrounds India series. And of course, we do know that the top spot of the Battlegrounds India series would be going to an Indian team. This was announced by Tencent way back. I mean, this tweet from the PUBG Mobile Esports channel is from the 29th of December 2021. So it's just over a month ago now that India would be getting this slot. Everyone was kind of wondering for a while which team would be getting the coveted 16th invitational slot, because 9 of the slots for PMGC we're going to go to the top 9 teams from PMGC East, and then 6 slots would be going to the top 6 teams from PMGC West. And this left one slot open because it's 16, and I think, trying to remember if 6 plus 9 equals 15. So that leaves one. Nobody knew who it would be. Traditionally, the final slot goes to the host country. But, also like way back when it was announced, like this is an interview on .esports you can check out, and James Yang had this interview. James Yang, if you're not familiar, he's like the head of esports for Tencent and PUBG Mobile. So like he's the dude. Like what he says is going to happen, and he said that this year they would be adopting. We'll zoom it in a bit so you can read at home. This year they would be adopting a semi-LAN event. Now, what's a semi-LAN event? And I don't know, but we'll remember that word LAN for later, okay? LAN's important. But he said it will not be a LAN event, it will be a semi-LAN event, okay? With the 16 finalists competing on the one server, the one true server, of course, the Asia server in Singapore. And I've got videos up on the channel if you want to know where all the servers are. They're pretty cool if you're into that kind of thing. Now, what Yang said is some teams will stay in their country, right? He said some teams will stay in their country, some teams will fly to the location. The PMGC Grand Final this Friday that's happening is going to be an online, offline event. It's a sort of semi-LAN. So he's invented the word and he now owns it. Go, yeah, I love his work. He's a bloody legend. He didn't reveal where the competition will take place. So I'm guessing it's like he said, they're not going to have a stage. So it's not going to be like, the big arena kind of a tournament. But I guess if some of the players want to travel to Singapore to get the green ping, they want to get that 20 ms. I don't think the game actually tells you if you're any lower. Maybe there's like a hotel above the Amazon data center where the server is, and they'll all sit in there and play it. I don't know, but they will have like a physical space, maybe a hotel, maybe like a conference center in Singapore that they'll rent out for the event, where the production crew can stay, and then some of the players can stay there, because you've got teams coming from all, like Turkey, all over the world. And, obviously if you're playing from like Turkey or Brazil, you can have like some serious ping issues. I played on Asia server from other countries, wouldn't recommend it. And so flying them all to like one place is definitely going to like help the competition. Now let's get back to GodLike. Let's check out this tweet. I just want to kind of like set the story so you could get a bit of an understanding of what's been announced. This publication, GemWire, they have apologized for posting this prematurely. Now they are sorry for the inconvenience caused. They're just going off what they've heard, and fair point to them. Good for them for correcting it. I like their style. And what they initially announced was a shocking I've lost the ability to speak. Shocking revelation. They said that GodLike would be, and that language is very strong. They said they would be competing in the PUBG Mobile Global Championship, which makes you think it's like done deal. It's going to happen, and you can imagine the controversy this would cause because they came fourth in BGIS. So what happened to the team that came first? what happens to the teams that came second and third? We'll get into that. So they explained that the reason why this might be possible is other teams are not meeting the eligible criteria. And apparently the eligible criteria to travel to Dubai, and this is where it gets weird, Dubai and participate in PMGC were, let's go back to what Yang was saying. I mean, right. Like, I'm fair. No, they didn't say Singapore. We all assumed it would be Singapore. That was where they would be holding this. So now apparently it's Dubai. And look, Tencent and Dubai go back a fair way. So this is like the Dubai. But there isn't a server in Dubai. This is where it gets weird. Like the Middle East North Africa server is in Frankfurt, to my knowledge. I mean, maybe there is a server nearby. Yeah, I'm not sure Amazon have a server in that area. Like, it's interesting. But they said the eligible criteria to travel to Dubai, participate in the PMGC were all players must have a valid passport with 6 months validity. Now, what does this mean? If you have not traveled before, you may not understand this concept. I went to Chile in 2020. That's actually where I played on the Asia server. I had like 500 MS. It's great. So just before I left, I realized in my own stupidity that my passport only had 3 months left on it. I'd had the passport for 10 years, right? You get it 10 years on a passport. So I'd had the passport for about 9 years and 9 months. And my passport was going to run out. But I was only going to be in Chile for 1 month. And then I would have been able to fly back to Australia within the time, I still would have had a valid passport. But no. You can't travel to many countries in the world with 6 months left on your passport. I think that's stupid because what's the point? Why not make it a 9.5 year passport? Why do they call it a 10-year passport? That's the story for another day. But you're actually not allowed to get a visa to most countries that I've been to when you have less than 6 months left on your passport. So what did I do? I paid a lot of money to get a passport really quickly. You can pay extra and you can get a new passport straight away. So some people were saying this means that you have to have had a passport for longer than 6 months. I don't understand how that could be true. It just means that the passport's got to have more than 6 months left. So, if it's got like a year to go, or if you've just got it, should be all sweet. Like if it's a brand new passport, shouldn't be a problem at all. That's okay. That's all right. Now, this had to be provided before the 23rd of India, 2300 hours military time. That's 11 o'clock at night, India time on the 16th. So that's like just after what's today? That's like just after the tournament finished. They had to have a valid passport. I would assume most of these players would have valid passports. Like, it's unusual that you would have less than 6 months, especially like considering how young a lot of these players are. I would have thought they would have 10-year passports. You either get like a 5-year or a 10-year. Even if you've got a 5-year passport, they're all like 16, 17 anyway. I think a few of them are like 18, 19. So they should have, they should be like at least, halfway into a passport. Unlikely that they're like on the back end of a passport. They have to have the negative. I'm assuming that's some kind of Rona test for the virus so they have to have a negative test. That's pretty easy these days, depending. It might not be easy, but that isn't what we've heard is the problem. They all have to have the double vax. Most people are into that. And especially if, that's what's standing in between you and being in the PMGC, I'm sure the majority of players would be into that kind of thing. And then if the below conditions are true, the invite would be given to the team with the next best position. So if 2 players don't have a passport that's valid, so 2 players have a passport with less than 6 months, that's incredibly unlikely. And you know what? It's incredibly unlikely that this situation would occur to 3 teams. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. If 2 players are tested positive and are unable to travel, that's kind of likely. 3 teams, well, Maybe, but this BGIS wasn't a LAN tournament. I saw it. They were all sitting at home chilling. So it's possible, like maybe 1 or 2 teams, but 3 teams, unlikely. On the balance of probabilities, it's not a done deal. I wouldn't bank on that one. Okay, now if 2 or more players had not been so the combination of 2 and 3, maybe this could do it. Like, it's a crazy world. That's that's a reality, but that's kind of not what the word on the street is. The word on the street is valid documentation, and apparently what they're saying now, all teams are still in contention, all have been asked for valid documentation. Maybe this means something about Skylight and it doesn't so much mean something about GodLike. We'll have to find out. But I had a quick look through the rules because I'm like right into that kind of thing, and this is like the BGIS rulebook. And if you search passport, you just kind of get that they have to be an Indian resident, and so I would have liked to apply on it, and lawful residency, and you can use your passport, your Aadhaar card, sounds like fun, and or a driving license issued by a government authority. So pretty sure everybody would have had that. That doesn't really mean anything. The PUBG Mobile official, which isn't super relevant, I just thought I'd check it anyways. If you search passport in the PUBG Mobile rulebook, it only comes up twice. So it talks about proof of residency here in section D of whatever, and it says to be certified as a resident by tournament. So we don't care about that. We already know that. Down here it gets interesting. Teams that qualify for LAN events must provide passport information, and that's exactly what this is about. Like, for all players to verify travel arrangements to such LAN events. Now, the game is banned. PUBG Mobile is banned in India. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, like, think about this. The game's banned. So how are you going to go to the Indian tax department and say, oh, I made some bulk coin, like I won 200,000 US dollars this year, and oh, how'd you do that? Oh, I won this PUBG Mobile tournament. I was just playing it at my nan's house, in India, and they'd be like, you're not allowed to play that in India. And so you could see that, well, we would just be like, oh, just jump on a VPN, just jump on a VPN and play it. It's actually, they would be breaking the law if they were to play the tournament from India. Okay, so they would have to go somewhere else, which could either be one of the next door countries, because they've got land borders. Unlike us in Australia, we're just water and sharks everywhere. You could just walk around and get to pretty much anywhere in the world from over there. Or they would go to Singapore or Dubai. I don't know why Dubai is being mentioned, but maybe to get into Dubai, it's being held in Dubai. I don't know. Maybe they're going to build a server, because I don't think there's a server there. I need to look into that. But they have to provide that passport information to PUBG Mobile, to Tencent, PUBG Mobile Esports. And if they're not able to cough up the documentation, then yes, maybe there could be some problems there. But it's not seeming at this stage like GodLike has qualified, because there's just been this mysterious rule change at the end. That was kind of my initial take. When I looked at the information I was being given from multiple sources, this is the conclusion I was drawing, like that some rule had been produced. And maybe there are rules that we don't have access to. Obviously, these players get contracts that we don't see. I've played at professional tournaments in the past, and I've got contracts that I can't show to people, but they're quite similar to this. I'll be honest, like I can't remember too much, and I can't remember half of what they said. They're quite long, and also you're not allowed to say, so I won't. But they may have access to information that we don't. They may know things that we don't. There may be stuff that isn't in the public domain at this stage. So we'll just have to keep our eyes and our ears open, and also, be always be doubtful of what you hear, you know, when it's just kind of coming out. Because, like, if you look at PUBG Mobile Esports, nothing. I haven't said a thing. GodLike, haven't said anything. No, none of the kind of teams or players have really spoken out. People in like private messaging are speaking quite a lot. You know, there's quite a lot of discourse occurring outside of the traditional, you know, public news kind of space. Like these news publications like Esports are producing content, and you would expect them to be all over this. Like this like if three teams got disqualified on a technicality and the fourth place team qualified, you would expect every single esports publication in the world to be writing an article every 5 minutes. Like there'd be like, we'd be 10 articles deep right now, like on the search engine. I couldn't find anything. So let's just play this one by ear. It'll be very interesting to see what eventuates. I'm keen to see India in the PMGC regardless of which team. I will be slightly disappointed if it's not the team that came first, only because I'm always a believer in, you know, the best team should win. And, you know, to me, you know, things like passport. I mean, I've been in a situation myself where I've had to go out and get a new passport, and it's got nothing to do with how good you are at the game. I still think all the teams are good, and they're all good enough to represent India and play and whatnot and all that stuff. But like at the end of the day, like the fact that you couldn't go because of a, you know, a technicality is yeah, that sucks. Nobody wants to see that. They want to see the team that won and dominated. That's what we want to see. So, yeah, if I hear anything new, or if the situation does change from like this to like something more solid and concrete, I'll chuck something together. I'll throw something up. I'll let you all know. Let me know what you think of this video. I don't normally do a lot of stuff like this. I should do it more, but I'm just kind of lazy and don't have the time. But I do, you know, like I'm like a, you know, for like my day job, I spend a lot of time like reading, you know, really boring rules and laws and thinking about it and stuff. So when it comes to situations like this happening in the PUBG mobile world, I feel like I probably could share like at least a slightly educated opinion. I don't know if educated is the best word to use in my situation, but I feel like I could add something, you know, maybe. I don't know. Let me know in the let me know in the comments what you think. But yeah, we'll see how this one runs out, and yeah, until the next one, I'll catch you guys later. And yeah, may the best team win. It's almost here. PMGC is on route Friday. Make sure you tune in for the scrims too. I'll see you later.